Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? It's your man, B. Vaughn, here for another episode of We Create Music TV. And man, today we got my man, my guy here in Atlanta. I Am Brahms. He's a music producer and composer. So, man, welcome him to the show. Let me switch it
Hey,
over.
hey,
And let me look, like I said, let me switch it over, right?
hey, hey.
Hey, hey,
Good to be here. Good to be here, man.
hey, that's what's up. Look, if I can get these buttons on this stream deck to work
That's
appropriately.
all good.
Yeah,
It's
man.
love.
Hey, man, welcome to the show. Appreciate
Hey,
you being
thanks
here,
for
brother.
hey, man. Thank you for having me, man. It's
Yeah,
definitely
man.
a pleasure, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Man, appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna chop it up and talk about all things music, all things about what you do. So, man, let's just
Yeah,
jump right into it. So, tell us how you got started in this whole music business industry journey of yours.
man. So music for me, man. I started pretty early, actually. I think it's one of those things where I didn't really know how much I had a love for music, but it kind of as I got older, it really kind of showed. And so for me, I would say my early introduction to music, but actually was video games. I was big into Nintendo,
Hey,
and and I was big
I
in
do.
all those video game theme songs, stage songs, and all
Hmm.
the music used to be super catchy. And I remember like I would go to school like humming all the tunes and just be singing it and all that kind of thing. And that was like my big thing, back when I was 5 and 6 years old. And then my my mother got me a keyboard, a Yamaha keyboard. I think it was 48 keys or 41, whatever the key, whatever it is, 49 keys
Hmm.
back then. And I used to, sit down and just play all of the demos that they used to have and play through all the songs. And, I try to play the little piano, I try to play the sounds, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just go through and I would sit around and
Right.
play. And I don't know. And then I just, as I got into the fourth grade, and I picked up the saxophone because I watched The Simpsons, believe it or not, and I used
Hmm.
to like watching Lisa play the saxophone, so I
Right.
wanted to play. I thought I wanted to play, so I picked up the saxophone. Was in the school band, learning, the saxophone. And it's the funny thing is I actually got kind of mad because we would do these concerts, and the fifth graders were actually like playing the songs like sound like how you would hear it. And then the fourth grade would play like the songs, but it'd be an easier, slower
Right.
version. And it sounded,
Yep.
I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is this? So I kind of got like frustrated, like, why are we playing this? Like, what is this? And then two, the other thing was I didn't really hate it. I didn't really like it because I had to hold the instrument, to school on the bus, and you had
Hmm.
to
You
do
like?
the reads and the practicing. And I wouldn't really, I didn't really understand that you have to actually
Mm.
like work to actually learn the instrument. So I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, put that aside. And then, and when I got to middle school, they recruited me to join the chorus. And at the time it was kind of like, oh, hey, we have fun in here. You just show up, participate, you pretty much get an A.
Look, that's how they
And
get you.
that's how they get you.
Yeah,
They
that's how
join
they
as
get you in chorus. I know.
they get you in that chorus. So, and I basically, I stuck with that for, through middle school. And it was fun. I thought it was fun. And I just, stuck with that. And then, the funny thing, I was going to go to high school, and I was actually into drawing a lot. So I was going
Mm.
to start really going and getting into art. And then the high school director or choir director came into our eighth grade class to recruit people, and they were like, "Hey, join the high school. We're gonna go to Europe, next year." And I was like, "Oh man, oh yeah, sign me up." So
Hmm.
I joined the high school choir, so I stuck with that. And then that my freshman year we went to Europe on a concert tour, and throughout that time we did all these concerts, and we did some musicals. And I don't know, man. I just during that time period, I just really kind of fell in love with the being on stage performing. Doing the plays, doing the
Hmm.
musicals. And then of course, on the flip side, I'm still listening to a lot of music. I'm listening to a lot of different genres because I was big into like MTV at the time. So I was listening to a lot of alternative and whatever they was playing on MTV. And I was starting to get heavy into hip hop with Bone Thugs and Biggie and Tupac and Pastor Troy and all that in that around that time period. And then when I was in high school, I started really getting more into R&B and really the singing groups, and I was really into
Mm.
like Boys to Men and Drew Hill.
Hey,
Like they were just like,
hey,
yeah, like they was my, so
that's
I
right.
swore up and down I was gonna be like in a singing group, coming up. And I was just we had a little group together in high school, and we used to try to do these little concerts or whatever, and in class. But yeah, so when I, during that time period, when I was getting ready to graduate high school, it was kind of like I was trying to decide on what I wanted to do going into college. And I just really was like, I really had a passion for music, and it was crazy because I was thinking that I was going to go in to do computer programming, because I took a computer programming course in high school, and I was like, that, it's something I was kind of familiar with, and I was good at it, and I was like, oh, let's go, but it just kept calling me. Like, I was kept looking at like all these classes on registering, and I was like, in Georgia they had the Hope Scholarship, and it was like, I could go. I'm thinking, man, I could learn all this stuff on the scholarship, and I could really like, really learn, And so I ended up going to college at Georgia State University and actually auditioned to get into the music school as a voice. Nice. So I actually started majoring in voice performance for classical music, and so so I started that, and really I thought I was gonna probably go. I kind of had a vision of going to maybe doing Broadway or doing musicals. That was kind of my thing. I kind of wanted to do that, but that school was very much classical trained tradition. They were more very opera. Like you went there to basically do opera performance or things like that if you were in voice. So, but during that process, I don't know. Like it's crazy because I was in the practice hall one day listening to like my CDs, and probably I think it was my sophomore year, and I had came across just all the music I always listened to, but one of the songs that I've always loved, who I'm gonna right now have the name artist, I'll put them nameless, but the song is I Believe I Can Fly. So we just go, everybody knows where that came from, and I just, man, and I had to listen to that music throughout high school because the album TP2 came out, and I was just and so, but that song, I don't know, something happened that particular time where I just felt it. Like I felt the intro. I always say the intro was always what grabbed me. And I started to kind of sit back and think like, man, this is crazy because this song at the time, I feel like it came out, some years ago, but he had all this other stuff that was like, that was like, doing really well. But man, how cool is that he could always say, man, I had this one song that like just took off, and like it pretty much just, it never gonna go anywhere, which, that's debatable now. But the point, is that I was like, man, how cool that the kind of like be able to create something like that, and then you could come back in 30 years and say, man, I would love to, say, hey man, I actually wrote that, man. I can't believe I actually wrote that, and it's did all, it's like a legend, piece that everybody can vibe to. So I started to really get into composition. Like that started to make me start paying attention to actually who wrote things. So when I was in the choir in the college, I would like start looking at the composers, and I started to study like, okay, all these big prominent classical composers, and what they were writing. And then I started like, I got a magazine that was like this, pop magazine. It's like the top, I don't know, 100 songwriters of all time in Billboard or something. And I remember, I've got Billy Joel, Stevie Wonder, Elton John, Babyface, Michael Jackson, all these, big prominent. And so I started going in and buying. I would go to the music store when they had them, and start buying catalogs. And I remember I went and bought said artist catalog, the whole thing. I got all the stuff. I had all the albums.
Said artist.
I ain't gonna do it right now. But I bought the whole catalog, got every album at the time, and just went through all of them. And then I had this kick where I would just study everything he did, all the music, all the everything. But and then I switched over. And then I think at the time it might have been after that Billy Joel, same thing. Went through every single album, bought all of them. Bought the greatest hits, bought the whatever I could find, listened to everything. Then I think maybe it might have been Babyface, or maybe whatever Stevie Wonder,
right?
So I just started to really like study like songwriting. And so during that process, I kind of say, I'm gonna drop the vocal performance, and I think I want to really get into production and composition. So I switched my major to audio engineering there. And when I first started that, I actually was sitting in some sessions, like some of the mixing sessions for like projects that people were doing, the students were doing. And I was like, man, this is cool, but I feel like, you could actually get a lot of this stuff at home. You just, you can buy it and you get your house and you can just do it at your house and learn. And at the time they also had a music business management major. So I was like, I think I should just switch to that. And in that way, I got the management business side while I was taking business courses. I could graduate school and actually get a job and leverage that business side on my resume. And then I could just buy all this stuff and then I could start working on my own. So that's what I did. So I switched over to music management or business management. And I started taking all of the, music industry courses that they had, the marketing, the, law, entertainment law and all that kind of thing. And then I graduated with that with a music business management degree.
Nice.
So then after that, I basically right out of college, I got a job working at Walgreens as an assistant manager. And I think my very first check, I went to Guitar Center. Everybody has a Guitar Center story, Everybody has a Guitar Center story. And I went in there and I got the mic that I still use, the Audio-Technica 4040, I think. Still got it. Still use it. Mic, all the stuff, mic stand monitors, pretty much everything to get started. I had Reason 3 at the time. Reason 3. Somebody gave me Reason 3, and they gave me the Waves plugin bundle, all the Waves plugins at the time.
Yep.
Innuendo version, whatever it was, version 2 or 3 or something.
Probably 3.
They gave me all that stuff. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. Like, it was crazy because I opened it up. I'm like, what? I was just like, it's so crazy. I always think about that. So I'm like, man, if I knew what I knew now and I had all that stuff, man, I'm like,
for sure.
But yeah, man. So I started really kind of getting into to producing. I think actually I started on Fruity. Of course, I started on Fruity Loops. So I downloaded the free version and was kind of messing with it. And then I got Reason after that and was really playing with Reason and started really trying to produce, making beats. And I, at the time I was really heavy. That time period was when Timbaland had his run with Justin Timberlake and Nelly Furtado and his Shock Value album. And I was killing it. I was in there just studying. And I was studying, everybody at the time, Timbaland, Neptunes, Manny Fresh, Dr. Dre, Kanye West, Organized Noise. I'm sure I'm missing somebody now, but all of the big producers, Tricky Stewart and The Dream, Neo, just really like heavy, studying and then just, making beats at the time. And I was connecting with local people. I actually would, it was funny, I would take Marta a lot to go places and I would carry the Reason tutorial book. It was a big old book, like a 300-page book. Yeah. You probably,
yeah, I had it.
Yep. And I would carry that on the train, and like sometimes people would, like, somebody was like, "Hey man, you do production."
Watch. Hey, look. I'm gonna stop you for a second. Watch it. Hold on. I'm gonna grab something. I'm gonna grab a couple things. Let you know from the jump. Don't get it twisted now.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Look. Don't get it.
Hey.
Look.
I see it.
Reason 4.
Yep. I remember it.
Version 4, 5. And then when they came out there with that Reason Record.
Record. Yep. I remember it.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny you say that, because I remember I had to go back and get the actual legit version, because when you got Record, you couldn't use it unless you had, I think, Reason 5.
That's
so
right.
I actually had to
Reason
go back
5.
and buy Reason 5 to actually use Record.
Yep.
So so it's crazy. It's funny. I had those boxes too. I got all them boxes. I got. Yeah, all of them sitting down there. But yeah, man. So I had met some people and doing production, locally for a while, and with people I knew at work. I used to work at Best Buy. I had some friends there, and they did music, and we just a really funny story in that time period was at Best Buy. I actually worked with T-Boz's brother, but he didn't tell you that who he was affiliated with, right? So what's so funny is I remember after work sometimes he would take me to the studio off Peachtree Industrial. He had it set up in that place where Soul Asylum is now. And I'd be looking in there like, man, how in the world did you get? Because he had like everything. He had the MPC 4000, all the big stuff back then. Of course, back then you either knew somebody or you had to have some loot. So I'm like, man,
Some
how
bread.
in
You
the
had to have
world,
some
you know?
bread.
So right, and so later on, I figured I put it together. But
Mm.
I started working with him, you know, producing a little bit, and you know, just learning and trying to develop. And then I would say about 2009, I started going to networking. Well, no, I take that back. In 2006, they used to have a conference in Atlanta called Atlantis. I think that might have been the last year they had it, or it might have ended in 2008. But there was a conference in Atlanta called Atlantis that I went to, and I remember in that one of the speakers was Teddy Riley. And what's so funny about that is you know, of course, everybody swarms the stage when they're done with the Q&A and all that kind of stuff. And I remember, you know, I'm just gonna leave, come back, you know, I'm gonna leave and go on. I was like, you know, man, I should go up there and try to shake his hand or something. I actually went back and got in front of worked my way to the front of the stage with one of my other friends, and handed him my CD, which was, I mean, I had like 3 songs. They were awful. I mean, just straight trash. I was making them on my Yamaha keyboard, you know, just getting, you know, just learning. And I had a CD, you know, and I handed it to him, and he was like, man, do you do music? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man, you look like a scientist, because I had glasses on.
You look like
And he's
a
like,
scientist.
and he's like, man, but he's like, I know musicians when I see them. And he said that, yo, I got, you know, working on something this weekend, or he was working on a project, and he needed like a violinist. My friend was a violinist, and he invited us both to come.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, man, I ain't want. I ain't tell him that, but I'm like, man, because I knew, like, nah, I wasn't ready, man. I wasn't going there, and man, nah. I was like, I'm gonna have to. I said, you know, we're gonna meet again. That's what I said. So, but you know, but fast forward to 2009, I started going into more music conferences. That was when Kevin Shine is, you know, big on like songwriting and like R&B, and
Yep.
he used to do
WSA.
was, you know, WSA, you know, so he was, you know, heavy during that time period. So I started really going into these networking events, and that was when I say I really started to get into like networking in the music industry. That was like the first time I really like started to really get into the know of how it works, and kind of like meeting people and networking. And I was pretty much kind of doing that ever since. I was doing that, and I was producing. I was, you know, trying to work with local artists, and you know, I think around 2011, I was doing beat battles. I started doing beat battles then. That's when in Atlanta, the big beat battle back then was like the ATL beat battle with Jasmine. And I remember finally entering. When I went to some, and I finally entered and got destroyed. For quite some time. I mean, it was like several battles where I was just getting handled, you know.
Handled.
Handled, boy. I was just getting worked.
Hey, look, me too. Don't worry about it. You ain't the only one.
You know,
Handled,
man. But I ended up, you know, networking a lot through those battles and meeting a lot of people, you know, and some, you know, I met and still know to this day. And I just started really at the time doing those. And then I remember the first A3C that was at the Masquerade for me was I think 2010. And
wow.
I actually volunteered. I was a volunteer there, and I volunteered for A3C probably for 3 or 4 years after that, until they moved over to the center in it downtown. But I bet, you know, of course, met a lot of people through that, you know, just networking and you know, doing a lot of that thing. And like I said, doing battles. I did, you know, during that time I did the iStandard showcases. I did the iBeat Daily. I did the Beat Royales. I did the International Music Conference Producer Showcase. That was when they was doing that. And yeah, and I was just doing that a lot over the years, you know, just networking with people, working with people. And then I'd say probably 2014, I had got the latest edition of Donald Passum's book, What You Need to Know About the Music Business. And in that particular edition, he started talking about getting music on TV. And at the time, I did not even think that was even a thing. You know, I knew people, of course, made music, but I didn't know it was as simple as, oh, Harry, yeah, you know, you can just, you know, submit to these places and, you know, you can make some, you know, make money to stream, you know, whatever. So he had listed like several libraries in the book. And I said, oh, you know, I just went online and went to the places and, you know, tried to submit music, and, you know, started to learn about the whole sync thing in that time. And I say then probably that next year, I I think I ran into Clint, Anthony Clint Jr.
Hey,
on
that's my
Clint
dude.
Music. Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
dude.
I think on social media like Twitter, Instagram, but he was like heavy in sync
Oh yeah.
licensing, and he used to put up a lot. He still does a lot of tutorials and things to like help. And so I remember watching and like learning how to format the music. And then I'd say probably like from 2015 to, well, definitely probably 2 years, I was just all in on sync. And I was just working really hard, like trying to pitch music, finding different libraries, and just going really hard in that lane. And then in 2016, I got my first sync placement on BET's One Shot. It was like a competition rap show, like American Idol that Sway hosted with I can't remember who the other judges were at the time, but that was my first sync placement that I had. And I was like, man, it was so crazy. I like watched it, DVR'd it or whatever, and watched them play the track, and it was like 15 seconds, but it was like they paid like a nice little chunk of change for that 15 seconds. I was like, oh shoot. From there, I just been continuing to really attack that lane heavy, and then also continue to work with local artists. I was still going out networking, meeting people, and working with people who I had met over the years of going through all the music events, and just still like working with independent artists, and also getting more into selling beats online. So I started to kind of get more heavy into that as a revenue stream. And that's pretty much that's kind of like like now I say like sync has probably been my most successful lane. I've gotten placements a lot on different networks, ABC, Viceland, VH1, Reels. I'm sure I'm missing USA. And then I just got one on for Jackson Hewitt, the tax their tax ad right now. One of their tax ads playing. I got one through them. So I'm just really working that lane a lot now. Heavy. Okay. I'm still pushing online. And then I'm also looking at getting more into live performance. With either piano or just machine or machine jam, or I got the Roland TR-8S drum machine. So kind of looking at getting that lane too. So yeah, man, that's kind of been my journey, man. It's been a long one, but it's been a good one, for the most part. And
it sounds like it. It sounds like it's been one heck of a journey.
It's been a ride, man. But it's still going. It's still growing. Huh?
Say it ain't even over yet.
That's not even over, man.
That's right.
It's I still got more, lots more. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it's kind of been my way I got into music and kind of where I'm at now. So
yeah, that's what's up, man. Like so what did you sing in high school? Oh, in middle school.
I sang tenor. So in middle school, I think I was like soprano because my voice was so high, and then they started to drop, and then I think I was tenor in high school and college.
Dope.
So
Yeah.
Man,
That's how they. I ain't want to interrupt your story, but yeah, that's how they get you. Come on over here. It's nice and it's fun, and you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna meet new people, and you're going to really just have sure. And then you go in there and you gotta do vocal. Yeah, that's how they got me too. So
that's how they get you. And I just kind of, it's funny. I guess I just kind of fell in love with it, but I guess it was like the whole performance. Yeah, the performing thing. I like performing on stage and do all the concerts and. Like I said, I just kind of stuck with it. So, but I think again, that's one of the things where I feel like it was kind of in me, and I just didn't really know. But when I got out of high school, that's when it kind of hit. Like I didn't want to leave it, so it was like I didn't want to go to college and not be a part of it. So, it kind of hit me to keep going with it. So.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. See, I did the whole singing choral thing from elementary school all the way to high school, right? And so. Yeah. Yeah, I was cool as long as I was on stage with other people.
The solo stuff is
But if it's just me solo, I'm be like,
that's solo.
Oh shoot, solo is not that's how that's.
I had a few of them, man. I had a few small ones, but but yeah, it's a whole different lane because you're good until it start, and then once you start, you can't stop. So
that's right. I'm good just in the cut, just like.
yeah, it's kind of chilling in the back,
Yeah, but once you, and what's so crazy is that you said you went to, when you got into college, that you went into college and you were doing vocals there, but it was more from an operatic type. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And what's so crazy is that one of your favorite groups as you were growing up was Drew Hill.
Right.
And Jazz
Yeah.
studied, he studied opera in school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I don't know if a lot of people
And I
know
think-
that, but
Yeah, and I think
Jazz.
even Boys to Men, I think Boys to Men went to their performing arts school. They
They
actually
went to
studied
performing arts
classical.
school. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so
So-
Boys and Men is still today my favorite group. Still today.
They're incredible.
Like,
I mean, they're
incredible.
it's just it's really it's like it's just disrespectful how good they are. It's
It's
like
nasty. It's nasty.
yeah, it's
I've
serious,
seen
man.
them in concerts so many times. My
Yeah.
wife flew me out to Vegas when they were doing their residency in Vegas to go see them in Vegas to perform. Just me by myself. She didn't even go. I was like, okay, you don't want to go? She was like, nope, it's you. You have fun with Boys and Men. Maybe they'll call you up on stage. Maybe you can sing with them, whatever. I was like, Dad, that'd be dope if I did. But yeah, I mean, I've met them so many times, man. So it's so
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah,
They're amazing, man.
that it's still today. And still one of my dreams is still, if I ever had a chance to sing with Boys and Men.
Oh
Even if
man,
it's a
yeah,
small part.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
jump
well,
at the chance.
I just love the work.
I
Anything I
do
could do, man. Is, play a couple keys on it or something,
Just
man.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something, man. That's I got to do that, man, because
Yep.
they're just phenomenal, man. I mean,
Just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
so I don't know if you said it in your introduction, in your journey, but why did you leave vocals? Why did you? And I don't know if you still do it today, and I don't know if that's still a part of your journey, but why did you end up leaving doing vocals? And if you did, have you regretted making that decision?
No, I don't really regret it. I mean, so I left basically because I felt like I was just more. I wanted to get more in the composition and composing, and I was at the time like kind of doing the whole, producing, songwriting, singing, kind of like Stevie Wonder, and all the people that used to do everything kind of themselves. And I was really studying those kind of people, but I felt that my strength was more on the musicality, and so I really kind of honed in more on that. I think that I was, songwriting for me was not something that just came, like and I think that, I worked at it, but then I kind of was like, I probably feel like I should more go on the production lane, and then I can get back into it more later on. And and with vocals, I just said, I don't know, I just kind of want to be more work more as a producer, and I didn't really care much to be in front. And I would say even now, I don't mind singing like harmonies or like singing something on the production, but I don't need to be featured or, need to be the center of it. As far as getting, I mean, I do feel like I'm now just the way things are, like with the way technology is, I feel like I am going to get back into a little bit because, like I'm interested in like doing some Christmas covers. I can put them out on, streaming stuff and use it for licensing. So
let me know when you do.
yeah, I'm interested in doing that, man. So I think now it's more of just for fun. I'm not trying to be an artist, I'm not really trying to be out there like that. But like I said, just if I can lend my hand on certain records or whatever, I'm cool. But yeah, I'm not really interested in that. And plus, at the time, really I was more, I feel like I honed in a lot more on the classical style, and I feel like my non-classical was like maybe it has nice little tone, but nah.
Right.
When you stack me up against everybody else doing, I'm like, nah, this ain't, let me not even pretend. So that's what I feel like. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that absolutely makes sense. I think it's important that people understand where they're really strong at. What I'm saying, and then really start to gravitate more to that. Like, I don't know. My wife said I can sing, so I'll go with that. What I'm saying, like, and trust me, she is not the person that would tell somebody something just to tell them. Like, heck no. What I'm saying? So if she's saying it, then it's like, all right, cool. I mean, I guess the talent really is there because, I mean, I went to, when I was in Virginia, I went to Virginia State and did all the state choral, big concerts, and I went to all state. Had what I'm saying, and I was one of the very few baritone tenors at the time that got chosen. Right, so it was this whole thing. So I mean, it's true. I mean, I was in several groups growing up and all that stuff. Right, I do miss it. I ain't gonna lie.
You miss it? I mean, it's fun. It is fun. I mean, I I feel like, of course, if I had like somebody, even like now, if it was like a gig or something, yeah,
Let's
I
do
would
it.
come out, yeah, let's do it. Like I'm cool with that, but
Let's do it.
I'm not, I'm not like, I got to put out an album and all that. No, I'm
Yeah,
good
see
on
me
that.
either.
But
Nope.
but and then too, also to your point, I feel like too with singing, like sometimes I think too, like, you got so many layers to like what makes a good singer. So you can be a vocalist who does a lot of acrobatics, but then sometimes
Right.
like you got some people that just they tone and how they just the voice, it just cuts through. Like it's so good that as soon as they start going,
They
they don't got to do
control.
much. They just got to they just control, and
That's
just the way they carry it. You don't got to do all that, but it
you gotta do
just grabs
right.
you.
That's why I like
and so you can.
I don't know if a lot of people know. That's why I like Jamie Foxx as a
Yeah,
singer.
exactly.
Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx has amazing control over how he may not be the best singer in the world, but his control
Yeah.
phenomenal. It's
Yeah,
like
it's just like
yeah.
it's like your strengths of your voice and how to, and that's just I think that's so important. So
That's right.
that's kind of thing. If people sing, they don't have to be worried so much about not doing all the vocal runs and all the like you don't got to be Usher.
Yeah, you see,
Usher's phenomenal.
Right. That's what I was trying to tell. I forgot who I was trying to tell this to. It's like if you don't have to, scream when you sing. Screaming
Right.
doesn't mean singing. Yelling doesn't mean singing. Doing a tons of roles doesn't necessarily mean singing. It just means you can do a ton of roles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah. But anyway, I was just curious. Did you, for somebody who used to be, quote unquote, a vocalist, being in choral for as long as I can remember, and do you regret it? And sometimes I sit back and I go, dang, maybe, like maybe. And so you'll know, and I guess I don't like the thought of living with a regret. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes I'll sit and I'll be on YouTube and I'll see some of those like The Voice, and I'll start watching it. And I'll sit there and start watching it. And I'm just like, it ain't too late, B. It ain't too late, B. You can still do it, man. You can still do it. It ain't too late.
Well, what's funny is it's not, because the way technology is right now. See, that's the thing. Now, maybe 20 years ago, it might be too late. But see, now you got so many avenues. See,
That's right.
You
That's
just
right.
get on
See?
one of these. So. Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes I'm like you sometimes when I especially like we go to a show, me and my wife go to a show or something, go to a really nice show, or if we see a musical, like I do kind of like I do come down. I wish I want to be back into the musicals. That was really what I wanted. I really wanted to be in the musicals. I loved the musicals. That was my thing. And so
wow.
I do kind of wish that, I could go back to that, but it's okay. Like I'm not gonna like it's not
You're not gonna push it. Right.
I'm not. Yeah. Like
Right.
Good.
Right. so then you went from doing vocals and then switching, right? You switched completely from vocals and doing that into the music production side and really getting into composition. So I want to kind of talk about what really motivated your change to go from one and then into the other.
Well, I think the thing about it was I used to get really like inspired or just filled by like chord progression, but I still do. I'm a chord progression geek, and when I was studying it, in music theory and all that, and I listened to all these songs, I always would like have this like feeling in me that whenever like there was always be like maybe a certain chord progression or chord or melody or something with the vocal, like the lyric, they if they're really good songs, they understand like how to structure the lyrics around like a crazy chord progression, and so I was just really and I always used to be moved about these chord progressions. Used to move me, like like I'm like, man, like how, what was that, what is that, and so I just got really into that, and I think that's like what really made me want to like study. I wanted to learn how to play that, and I wanted to like really start to compose that kind of thing. And like I said, I got to the point where I really wanted to make more, so I wanted to make songs, and I wanted to have it to where, man, one day I would have this song that would just like basically live forever, like All I Want for Christmas, like that's never going away. I don't care, and
Ever.
What's crazy about that particular song is she got millions of others that have done,
That's right, but that one
is never going away. And so like
Ever.
I used to just really get inspired by that, and that's what really kind of got me into the composition more. Like I wanted to be the person behind it actually created it versus the one performing. I really want to be more, I want to create this, and somebody else can perform it and they can, give it the shine that it needs. But I want to be able to like sit back and like craft, this canvas. And that's what really got inspired me to switch. I just was really inspired by that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got into music production, it was just the ability to create different things and bring those different things together that I loved. And so I absolutely understand where you're coming from in relationship to that. And just the power of music. And for you, it was the power of chords and understanding chord structure and music theory. And that kind of really propelled you into doing that. And so then you went from that into deeper into composing, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is I don't know. You got like music production, and then you got like composing. You're right. I don't know if that's how it is, but because you're now looking at different things from a different perspective of putting music to something, right? And I don't know if that was still in your journey, but putting music to something, whether it's a film or whether it's an indie film, a major film, whatever it may be. But now you're sitting down and composing and designing sound and making sure all that gels together. So I want to ask. So who's your favorite composer?
Nobu Uematsu, who is the composer for the Final Fantasy series.
Hey, that's right. Because you started off with the video game.
I'm a geek at heart, man. So, Final Fantasy was one of my, I have tons of video games music that I love, and I still to this day want to get into game scoring. And I'm big on themes, but man, I just studied the crap out of his stuff, man. I've got all of from the first game up until when he stopped or what he's doing, and him. Of course, John Williams is another one. John Williams
is awesome. And Superman.
He's amazing. But those especially were like the two that I just really studied a lot.
Yeah, John Williams is a beast.
He's a beast. Yeah,
like he's a beast. He's a beast. When I found out all the stuff that he did, I was like, oh my gosh. And so
it's crazy.
It's crazy. I didn't take my family. My wife won tickets to go. This is when we lived in St. Louis. Excuse me. She won tickets to go see a rendition of John Williams, right? And so the St. Louis orchestra was playing all of John Williams' music, and so they saved the best two for last, which of course was Star Wars and Superman. But that was amazing. It was just, I could feel the kid in this grown man's body, come out. I'm sitting there like,
and let me tell you what's crazy. Let me tell you what's crazy about that is like, see that right there. Now you talk about that and like the Star Wars, right? Think about Star Wars. Think about the opening intro. The whole theater stands up clapping.
Yes,
it's to this day, right? And that's what I'm saying. The Bond theme, right? I mean, these just themes that they're not going away. And that's what right. That inspires me, man. Like just to be able to craft something like that, and you just never know what's gonna happen when you make it. But man, to be able to, I mean, Star Wars came out, first one was 1977.
I remember going. I remember going to see it.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. You ain't got to worry about that.
Like I remember going to see that, and that's the thing. I mean, I was born in '74, so you know how old I was when that came out.
Yeah.
I actually remember going to go see that, and I went to go see Superman.
Yeah, and it's just now I think crazy, man. Like over 40 years later, that song comes on, and it's just like you just know, and it's everywhere.
You just know.
So yeah, man, I definitely studied them a lot. And that's definitely a big thing for me is to get into that lane. It's a different lane. That's a way different, like you said. That's a different lane. It's production lane behind it. A different lane. You really gotta get all in on it. It's a lot of nuances that it's not. You don't just show up. You don't show up for anything. First of all,
right?
But you dang sure don't show up for that. You got to put some studying behind that.
Yo, that's gonna take some stuff.
Yeah. So
yeah, you can't just show up. Yeah, who
No.
I'm actually impressed with is Ludwig Göransson.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely a man. I've been following him, man. Of course, the Black Panther, the Mandalorian, Creed.
I know. That's what I'm saying. People don't. I don't know if people know this guy like for real.
Yeah.
But he did the whole Tenet, the Tenet composition for the movie. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's crazy about that is he worked with Childish Gambino on his album. So he has that diversity where he's able to do like, songs, like just, standard rap or whatever R&B, but then he can go into that composition. And that's another thing that inspires me too. If you think about my influences, I'm always been big on the guys that had range. So like everybody that I kind of studied, like they could just sort of like do all different types of things. And I always got inspired by that. So like, you might have this crazy big hip hop song, but then you might come out with this classical score on a movie. Because you just had that knowledge, you could just, you can do it. And that's kind of how I feel what he has. He has that range where he can do something like those projects, but then do, work on albums if he wanted.
That's right.
Hip hop albums and everything.
Yeah, like straight hip hop albums with grimy bass sounds and just trunk bass type stuff, and then all of a sudden he's in there directing an entire orchestra for the movie Tenet. And he got some just like, come on now, that's
and that's Quincy, and Quincy Jones, that's him too. Quincy Jones, and people don't really know him, but they gotta, you really do that history, man. That boy.
Yeah, they don't really know Quincy Jones like. You gotta understand Quincy Jones too, man. Him, and and I can't even not. You gotta add RZA to that. You know what I'm saying? Like
RZA. Yeah, like, he's slept on, but RZA is
slept on, but he is a beast. He's a beast when it comes to it, man. But but like I said, man, we have a lot in common. Even without me, reading your bio and now talking to you, bro. We have so much in common, from just how our progression in music happened. You know what I'm saying? Like from video games to chorus to into production, and I don't meet too many people that have kind of taken the same route that I've gone through, and this is kind of similar to the same one that you've gone through. But I'm sure on this journey there have been some roadblocks, some bumps in the road. So kind of talk about what are some of your biggest challenges that you faced? What did you learn from them, and how did you overcome those challenges for yourself?
Well, as with the music industry, there's a lot of things you run into. That's just the way it is. I think for me, I think the biggest challenge, when I started to kind of get some legs going under me, was like I guess consistency with like having people, work on projects, and then it's like everything just falls flat, and then you're just like resetting. And I went through a lot of that, where it's like we would spend a lot of time putting together something, and then for whatever reason, it was like the whole thing is because either they something happened or life happened or whatever, just like that was it. And and it's and because like a lot of times you think, okay, you find somebody, you get with an artist, you pair with them, you want to basically build them, so you put invest all your time into that, and then when like that goes away, it's like, well, now what do I do? Because that was something that's all you've been doing. So that was a big challenge. And I think the other thing too was when I got I started a family, got with my wife, and started having kids, and just that whole life balance changed. Everything changed, obviously, and having to navigate now. Okay, now what does this look like for me? Because now I'm not going to be out like I was before in terms of like just being on call, pull up. Now I'm probably not going to be pulling up. Now I'm gonna have to schedule it. Right. I'm gonna have to figure that. Like I'm not right there. So how does that work now? And and what does that look? What is my outlook? So I think when that kind of came, I had to like really sit and I really got like really stressed about it, because I thought, man, I don't know if this is gonna be it for me, man. I thought, man, maybe I could just do this, on the side, kind of just for fun or whatever. But I was like, man, I don't know, man. This may not be it. But then I'm like, okay, well, now if that ain't it, now what am I really gonna do now? Because this whole time has kind of been my game plan. So what am I gonna do? So that really kind of got me, for a while, just like really trying to figure that out. And I think overcoming it, I think just sort of came by with just I guess learning more about just things that you can do now, with like I say, with all the technology we have now. Everything's so different now. I think, again, 20 years ago, if I was in a situation, it was probably been over unless I just like, say, look, I'm just got to be by myself. I'm going to have to be living in the studio and being where I need to be. And I think now it's just totally different, where, again, you got sync, where you just, you basically can create music at home, and you're sending it out, through email or through wherever, and you can get your stuff out and placed on on just about anything. TV, TV, film, ads, radio ads, whatever, music in stores, and and when they're playing, you're generating revenue. You're generating revenue over time, and so you got that lane. You got again, online lane with your beats, or music. You got, now you can do sound kits. Now you can do live performing and Twitch, and you can stream, and you can get people can tip you to do streaming. You can still do your gigs. You got something else I'm missing, but anyway, you got all this stuff. You got and now that you can basically just put music out through this digital distribution, you can make your beat projects and or whatever, any kind of thing you want, just put it out. And like, what's crazy is people actually, sometimes you don't think, oh, nobody listens to instrumentals or nobody listens to, but you get on there and they got 8-bit music. They got 8-bit playlists on Spotify, like 8-bit, like lo-fi and all this stuff. It's like, so, you get on, you got workout playlists, you got yoga playlists, you got, meditation, there's so many different things you can do. And I think when I started to understand that and understand now how we can leverage technology, you got everything virtual, even like the pandemic kind of really, of course, elevated that, where, you're doing Zoom sessions, or you doing, everybody's doing mostly contact through emails, through Instagram, through TikTok. And now you're at a point now where you don't, it's always cool to be with people and being in the room, but you can get so much just from, being online and just working in your home, and then just connecting online, and they got they set up at the house. They just send it back to you. Boom, you got a song. And then now y'all can.
Oh, hey, I don't mean to cut you off, but I saw this video today. Who did the video? Eldre. I don't know if you know who Eldre is. Yeah, he's a producer, but he does a lot of YouTube videos. Has like 230,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get some of his followers, subscribe to come over here.
Me too.
But but he was talking about this plugin that's made by Mixed in Key, right? And this plugin is called, what's this plugin called? I sent it to a couple of friends of mine today. I'm looking on my phone. It's called Satellite. It's called Satellite, and it is Satellite. Oh my goodness, brother, you got to check that out. It is I'm giving them a plug, and you know what I'm saying, like, so this video is not sponsored by Mixed in Key. it can be, but it's not at the moment. But it's called Satellite, and let's say, for an example, you're talking about the many different ways to make music, the many different ways to collaborate with others, through Zoom, etc. But this particular program allows you to, it's like a plugin. You drag it onto your a MIDI track in your favorite DAW, and it will do an audio capture of whatever you are playing on that track, and it'll record it in its in a kind of like, it's like a VST, right, or the audio unit. So it records it in there. I can send you a link. You type in your code, and you are brought into that session where you can see everything that I see, and I can play, the drums, and it records it directly into that, and you can add stuff to it and take away. And if I want to, I can take what you played and drag it into my DAW and keep it, and maybe play something else. Oh, brother, it was, when I saw that, I was like, that's it.
That's great.
That's there.
See,
it is.
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, now it's like there's so many ways, one, to create, but then also collaborate with people, and then you can put it out there. So
and
I just feel like now it's free.
It's free.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, well, it's free for a limited time.
For a limited, yeah. I'm sure it won't be free long, but we might as well. I didn't jump on why it's free.
Yeah.
But I think, like, as I started to really kind of, really, kind of think about that, and sort of, again, like, really, and also, working and networking with people who are, basically doing sync full time, and people that are doing other things, music full time, but not necessarily like, got these major placements, but they just, they're able to make a really good living just doing it. It's like I just understand. Okay, now, I can do this forever, and just keep putting it out. And one of my piano teacher, I used to take piano lessons. My piano teacher said one time, she was like, musicians are different from athletes because, musicians, you can always do music. When you're 70 years old, you can still can
I
play,
plan on it.
and it's like when athlete, you got to, of course, after a while, your body give out on you. But when you do music,
Mm-hmm.
you never have to stop. And I think that really resonated with me because it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can just keep going. And even now, like I said, with the technology, you can manage. And I think that's what really kind of really remotivated me to just, okay, no, I'm still going. I'm still, and I just had to kind of switch up my, my game plan. I had to do a little pivot and figure out, okay, what works for me in my life right now with what I got going on, what works for me best. And that's basically but it took a little time for me to really figure that out. And that was a big challenge for me.
Yeah. So, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes people may not still figure it out. They still kind of may be trying to feel out what their actual purpose is in this field. For me, I like making music. I think I'm good at it. I don't think I'm the greatest music producer that we got. Am I good at it? Yeah. Can I, do I know what I'm doing? I do. But I got skills that, I've been in corporate America for 20 something years, right? So I've been doing, organizational development and leadership for 20 years, what I'm saying, and management. Yeah. And so my skill set in that area is way up there.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I could use it differently, which is kind of why I created this platform to do that. Yeah. But people got to really figure out, I haven't used my gym button yet, but that's what you got. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out where you're really strong at and do that. What I'm saying? Because not everybody's going to get in this music business the same way, or the music industry. Because there's a difference between the industry and the business, right?
Absolutely.
And so everybody's journey is different, and where you may be strong at, I may not be strong at. You know what I'm saying? And where another person may be strong at, I may not, or I may be weak in the area, etc. But people gotta, I think that's important for people to kind of figure out their true strengths, and then play to those strengths. Not so much looking at their weaknesses and trying to feel, what can I improve? What can I improve in this area? That's cool, but where you're strong at, because what's going to happen is that if you focus too much on those things that you're weak at, the things that you were strong in is going to start to diminish, and you're not going to be as strong in those things anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I think like to your point about that is that again, kind of finding like what makes you happy, because like you may not have to do it. You may not have to do music full time. Maybe just being able to make money from it, but then you got your job, that keeps you going. That's because I'll be honest with you. It is nice not have to worry about the bills coming up, and you thinking because the music thing, it's a different lane, man. You work for a good company. You do your work, you'll get your pay, you'll get your check,
Right.
And sometimes people feel like, okay, well, that's, whatever, that's this, okay, cool. But when you at that stage and you got to, because I think if you get to a point where you have to find a way to get money, see, now your trajectory changes. Now you almost become, now you get more thirsty, you're doing things that maybe you wouldn't did before, but you're still worried about it. And I think, that comes in going into like, being able to do what you want to do creatively, because if you're not so stressed so much about I got to be on, I got to do this because it's checked, then you might start to do music that you more really want to do versus like I got to figure out the trend and get on there to get on this placement. So I think that's really a good thing to understand, like really what makes you happy. Like for me, I'm cool. I can got my job and I'm doing music and getting, like I said, having success in sync world, and like I said, it don't have to stop. It don't have to stop. And music is a marathon. It's a journey. It takes time. It takes years. And you just keep going. You get that catalog up, and then it pays off.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad, even for myself, I don't knock anybody that have a full-time job or part-time job.
No, I don't. I don't understand. Even when I got out of college, that was the first thing that I said. I'm getting me a job. That was literally the first thing I said. Because when I got the job, again, like the first thing I did with the check was go buy my equipment. I didn't have to get it loaned.
That's
I
right.
didn't have to, and I was able to like be able to do that, and then not, then I could, not have to worry about, eating and going out and all that kind of stuff. So I never, that for me, that just wasn't my lane. I always said, I'm gonna get me a job. I'm gonna work, and then I'm gonna do this, when I'm out of work, and that's just how it's gonna be. And I think
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
no, but when I sit back and think about it, my job has afforded me the ability to do what I'm doing today, right? Without
Hmm.
my job, I wouldn't have been able to buy, the computers and, the light system and the software and the music equipment and all that stuff that I have now.
Right.
I always believe that you use your job, right, to further the career that you really want to be in. So if music is what you want to do and you have a full-time job, use that money to fund what you're doing,
Right.
right? I mean, there was many times that I would come to Atlanta because my job sent me here,
Hmm.
but they sent me here during the times of A3C and I Standard, B
Yep.
Camp, and all these different events. And every time I would come, I would go to. That was my purpose. Okay, cool. I'm here to do training. I got a 4-day class that I'm doing here in Atlanta. Every night after class, I'm going somewhere. I'm hooking up with somebody. We're going to be doing some type of music event, something. And it was, I just used my job to help further what I'm doing. That's why I've met a gazillion people, is because I would travel to Atlanta because of my job. I mean, I eventually
Yeah.
moved to Atlanta,
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I mean,
see, it allows you that, the opportunity, and that's
that's
what I'm
right.
saying. Sometimes it's like, nah, man, you got. I mean, yeah. If it didn't, I mean, I know we got to advice, but that's one advice, man. Like, you need to have something to fund, what you want to do, man, because
Mm-hmm.
having to be worried about that, I think it really it sets you back pretty hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of like success stories with people that like were pretty much on the very bottom on living out the car, and they found a
Khaled.
way, and right. And of course it's awesome to hear that success story, and it's like you can kind of look at it as
But
like
that's rare.
yeah, it's rare, and that's what I want to get to. It's rare, and when you get it from like a published platform, you got to understand that's one person out of like the whoever the many people that
Mm-hmm.
try that route, and they got to pivot because it's not work. You just never know, and the entertainment it's what we call a nobody knows industry. You don't know what's going to
Mm.
happen. You think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be great, it flops. You think it's going to flop, it takes off, but then the next one flops. You don't know what's
That's
going to
right.
happen, so you can't. You got to be kind of just be strategic, methodical
That's
with it.
right. Yeah, I had a conversation with Mark Bird a while. It was a while ago, like over a year ago.
I know Mark. I remember Mark Bird.
Yeah, oh, that's my dude right there.
Yeah,
And
Bruce right there.
yeah, he said that you're only as good as your last hit.
Yeah.
And so, in this comment that he made, he said, I produced for Kanye West, and Ed, the song was amazing. But then after I produced the song, everybody was like, okay, what's next though?
Right.
And he was like, wait a minute, I just produced one of the biggest songs for Kanye, and you're already talking about what's next. They're like, yeah, okay, you did that, okay, cool, but what's
Yeah.
next? And it's
Yeah.
like, you gotta, you're only as big as I guess in this case your last
Yeah,
hit.
and the thing about it is, it's like that might have some legs, so it'll have its
Oh hell yeah,
cycle.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it had legs, right? But then after that, it was like he said, like you gotta keep it moving, because then if you don't have any momentum after that, now what?
that's right.
Um, and sometimes people they find something during that time and can keep them going. But yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, very true, man. So let me ask you. Uh, I have a couple more questions. Of course, I want to ask you. It's been great talking to you, my brother, full of knowledge,
Like
and
likewise, man. Likewise,
I'm enjoying this conversation. So you
likewise,
got into
man.
sync licensing, right? You hooked
Yeah,
up with
yeah,
with Clint and a couple other people, and
yeah.
you've really been getting into the sync licensing world. So what are some considerations that people need to think about when getting into that sync licensing field? Because it's different than
Um,
music. It's different than music production.
it's different. It's different.
Oh yeah.
The biggest thing about it is understanding, like, well, first of all, like, watch shows that you like watch this TV that you like or whatever, and just like listen to the music, background music, like listen to what's playing, and like kind of just study like what they're playing and why they're playing it, why the dialogue is over it, what the scene, like why are they using that instrumental, or why are they using that song in that particular instant for that scene change, or for that whatever. Just kind of study that, and you can kind of get a feel for like the arrangements. But then the other big thing to consider is to like, sort of make sure that do what you like, so, or do what you're best at. So whatever style or genre that you do all the time, or you love to do, you stick with that genre, and again you watch the shows that has that genre playing, and then you kind of like start to research either the music supervisors or companies, publishing companies that source that type of music. And then you just submit that. And that's going to be the best way to really kind of get your foot in the door and with sync licensing.
Yeah, that's what's up, brother. Look, so I guess I need to start paying attention to these music and some of these Korean dramas I've been watching.
Oh man, I know the Korean drama. Man, I think I saw your post about that. And it made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard because I feel you 100%. We watch one of them on Netflix, and it's
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's all I can say. Oh my gosh.
It's wild, man.
You know, because I'm really interested in. Okay, so like I'm making music, right? But I have heavily delved into video.
Okay.
And so my passion is changing somewhat. Now I'm looking at filmmaking and going in that trajectory. And I told the wife the other day, I was like, yo, I think we're gonna move to Korea for like a year. She was like, what? I was like, yeah. She's like, let's do it. She said, I'll go to Korea with you and we'll spend 2 years over there. And I said, if I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna be the first black filmmaker in Korea, because the way that they make their shows and stuff is different than how we do it over here in America. Right. And I'm like, yo, we're gonna move to Korea. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate Korean dramas, man, because these things are so good and they always leave you on that cliffhanger and you always gotta go. That cliff. Yep. Right. And you sitting there and you're like, click. And every time the wife looks over at me like, I look over here like, we got stuff to actually go do, but we finna watch another episode.
Yeah, let me get one more. Let me get one more.
And by the time it's like 1 o'clock and you're like, dang, I should have did some other stuff, but I was caught up watching Vincenzo, you know, or Itaewon Class. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
funny.
Yep.
But yeah,
man.
I mean, you know, it's funny when you start to kind of like analyze, like, again, like the background music and even like the sound effects or the vowels or whatever. Yeah, you'd be kind of interested. It's kind of interesting to see how they, like, and I know like some shows when they have the lyrics and you like listen to the lyrics, like when something's building up or like something about to go down. And it's kind of crazy how they're very particular about their placements when they place these songs. Like they got to really, set the mood. So yeah, I mean, just studying that, I think, and really, like I said, like finding the stuff that you do the most or you like to do the most, and find the shows or campaigns that do that. Like try to stay in those lanes is the best way to really kind of get in there.
So I'm hearing that we need to go back and read the Donald Passman book because he has some links. He has some library suggestions in there.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I want to read his latest one because now he's updated it to where he's got all the streaming. You got it?
Oh yeah, it's somewhere.
So I feel like you gotta get it every like 2 or 3 years because he always updates all the latest. Oh, there you go.
There you go. I had to get this book. I was like, oh yeah, I need to go. He updated it, and I'm like, yeah, there's some new stuff in here.
Yeah, and it's if you want to stay with the music business and you want to stay with the trends, that's the way. Because he's sharp and his stuff. If you want to learn, you gotta read his books. So
you got that right.
I gotta get back on it myself.
Yeah, the 10th edition. Yeah, I need it. I've been reading this one. Let me see. It doesn't have the cover on it, but I've been reading this one.
Okay.
I don't know if you can read that. Let me see. Get my camera to boom. There it is.
I see it. Okay.
By Ari.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Yeah, I want to read that one. I haven't.
This one right here, brother.
Yeah, I need to read that.
These two.
I need to read that one.
These two.
That's all. Yeah.
All you need.
Yeah.
There's no other music books that you need besides. Yeah, those two will give you the stuff. But man, we've been talking for over an hour, my brother. So let me ask you, as we start to wind down a little bit, what advice would you have for anybody, since we're talking about books and the music business and kind of getting into this thing, what advice would you have for anybody trying to get into this whole music industry? What would you tell them?
I would say that, I mean, it's gonna be some cliched stuff here, but do it for the love of it, because it's, that's the only way. If you're gonna do it for the love, because you love it. It's in you. It's either in you or it's not. There's not really in between. You either like it or you don't. That you want to do it that way. And then the other thing I would say is, it's a long game. It's you got to have a lot of patience. It doesn't come fast. You're gonna run into roadblocks. Payment cycles are they're not the same as going in corporate America. You got to understand how business works, how payment cycles works, and just really understand that it is a marathon, and you're building a catalog, you're building assets, you're building stuff. So over the years and years and years, you've got so much stuff that you've built, but then also put out into the world, and it sort of manifests itself. So just really kind of, I would say, just really think about that. Like, it's not you get started, for 1 year and next year you're just booming. I mean, maybe that's an anomaly, can happen to somebody, but it doesn't happen. It's very, very rare. And just really, just take your time and be patient. And then, the other piece of advice I would say is, with your relationships, understand, like, relationships are like real relationships. They're not like you met somebody one time at a conference and then y'all were like best friends. Like, your networking and building relationships takes time. Like, again, going back to the time thing and understanding that, a lot of people they come up with a circle who they've been with for years, and they've just always kept in touch and been working with each other. And it goes into my final point: collaborate. If you are in music, collaborate, because collaborating with artists, collaborating with other producers, collaborating with songwriters, collaborating with somebody in film or whatever, it opens lanes. It opens, like, for an example for me, I'm collaborating with artists now in the sync world who got their own publishers. So now I've opened up, more publishers that we can submit music to, or, I opened up more lanes to put out projects with other producers or other artists. So just collaborate, you'll learn, you get in different genres, you will learn different genres that way. And yeah, just stick with it, and it'll be good.
Yes, sir, man. That's great. My little gym sounds up here. Too bad I can't play them back to back. I need a bunch of.
Need that note repeat, man. That note repeat 164.
I need to get some more sounds in here. In my little, I got like the bicycle horn. I got this sound right here.
Yeah. There you go. I like that. Well, that's a J-Lo sample right there.
Yeah. But yeah, that gym right there, that's the one. Because those are major gems, and I hope people are taking that away to say that's exactly what they need in order to do exactly what they need to do. So don't sleep on those gems. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on those gems. But man, so as we get ready to wrap up here soon, man, where can people find you? How can they connect with you, and how can they hear what you're doing? And just even if they want to collaborate, how can they go through that process?
Well, you can find me on social media: Twitter, Instagram. Instagram probably my biggest one, but Twitter, SoundCloud, TikTok, YouTube. My handle is I Am Brahms, IAMBRAHMS. It's for everything. And then my official website for beats is www.iambrahmsmusic.com. So you can hit me up there. But yeah, just anything on social media, I Am Brahms, you will find me. And yeah, just hit me up, send me a DM, or send me a chat on Twitter or something, and yeah, I'm here. Sure. And on Spotify, all the social. I got I got beat tapes, and I got some stuff that I did with other artists. So just search I Am Brahms on any of the streamable platforms, and you will find some of my work there as well.
Yeah, that's what's up, brother. Y'all make sure y'all really connect with him and go to his website. Love the fact he has a website. He just doesn't have a something.hisname.com. He actually has a website for him, which I always tell people that they need. But a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need a website because I got whoever, this platform or this platform. And I'm like, yep, but what happens when that platform goes down?
Yep,
what happens when that platform decides to change its terms of service or to hide all of your subscribers or followers? You don't have access to. I can go on a whole bunch of other stuff.
With that, man.
You know what I'm saying? But people don't understand. You got to have your own website, your own mailing list. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you can reach out to people too. But yeah, man, that's connect with the brother. Like, seriously, make sure y'all go and check him out, his website, his Instagram, all of his social media platforms, Spotify. Check out what he's doing and support. You know what I'm saying? So, man, brother, stick around for just a moment as I get ready to close this out.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of We Create Music TV, where we're dropping gems all day, and we're bringing to you, some great content from people in this music industry, from all levels of the music industry, all walks of life. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, you never know. Just because they may not be the biggest music producer in the world, trust me, there are people out here doing some stuff that you could be doing some of them things too, right? And you probably are. If you are, hit up our website. Make sure you schedule an interview so we can talk to you about the things that you're doing and bring awareness to your platform also. But I want to say thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of We Create Music TV. You can always catch us every Monday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. as well as the additional content that we drop also from our master classes, from some of our tutorials, from a lot of different things that we drop from now and what we're going to be doing here in the future soon. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in. You can always, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. If you don't do nothing else, you got to subscribe. Help us get our numbers up. Help us get our subscriber count up, because it makes this type of content more available to people like yourself, right? Helps us rank higher on this YouTube platform. But greatly appreciate you tuning in, and we are out. Peace.